Okay, welcome back to another episode with Solo segment where we give every candidate they have a space where they can speak their truth. They can tell people the reason they want to run for the community. So right now, the first stop is gonna be Douglasville. So we have this guy is super special for the community. So the reason I bring him here is because personally, I see him post online that he was running, and 2 days later he wasn't running again. Found out he got disqualified. So now come back again, he's running. So a lot of people probably want to know what happened, what's going on. So in this episode, you're about to learn everything about Mr. Devetrion. So how are you? How you doing today, brother?
I'm good. How you doing?
Thank you for coming. And I'm gonna tell you, I appreciate the fact I get the exclusive to bring you in front of the camera to speak about this whole thing.
That.
Are you ready?
I appreciate you and the opportunity. Absolutely.
Okay. You ready for the campaign, for everything?
I am.
You excited?
I'm excited.
You look tired, man. Come on, man.
Hey, this is the name of the game. It's what you have to do.
Got you. So now, for people who don't know about you, people probably see you on the internet. They might bump to you on the street. So now, can you give people a little bit of background now, who you are and where you're from? Anything they should know about you.
Sure. So one of the things I'll say is that what many people probably don't know is that I was not born here in Douglasville, but I'm rooted in Douglasville. My grandparents met here in Douglasville. My parents met here in Douglasville. My grandparents owned farmland in the Chapel Hill area when it was farmland before it was developed. And also where the Lithia Springs High School is, as well as Sweetwater Elementary. My grandfather owned that land.
Oh, wow.
And many years ago, of course, with some of the Jim Crow issues, just kind of the unfair treatment of blacks in Douglas County.
Right.
My grandfather was forced to sell the land where the school is.
Wow.
For a little of nothing. He certainly didn't get what it was worth. So I'm certainly rooted in Douglas County, and so I stand on the backs and the shoulders of my grandparents, strong pillars in the community who did not have the opportunity to do what I've been afforded the opportunity to do, and that's run for public office.
Okay. Oh, that's super important. So now, you was in board education for how long?
7 years.
7 years. What make you choose to go ahead and be a part of the board education?
So as I mentioned, growing up here, and so I have a heart for service, and I've always wanted to serve my community.
Got it.
And I know that there was an opportunity to be able to serve the community in that respect. And so I had conversations with other officials, and I made the step to just go ahead and move forward with it. And so it's a opportunity that I cherish. We were able to do some very impactful things on the Board of Education. But not only that, I was able to be a part of making history. I was able to be a part of leading a charge so that we may have one of the strongest school systems in the state of Georgia. So
Wow.
I'm certainly excited to be a part of that legacy for Douglas County, but more importantly for my community as well.
Yeah, it's crazy you're saying that. I was just about to ask you, throughout the time you was in the board education, what is something that you feel like that was achieved during the time you was done that make you feel like you're so proud of yourself?
So one of the things that my very first initiative was Every Child Eats. And so prior to coming on the Board of Education, I heard many conversations that if you did not have money to eat, then if students didn't have money to eat, then their lunch would be taken. They would be given an alternative, such as a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or something like that. And I just thought that can't be, not in Douglas County.
Wow.
Someone who was a product of free and reduced lunch, I know how important that was for me to be able to eat every day, but also for our students. So I worked with the superintendent, the chair of the board, and we were able to figure out within our budget how we could make sure that children could eat every day and that there were no more alternative meals. It wasn't a perfect situation at first. It took some getting adjusted to, but ultimately we were able to make that happen. So I'm super excited for that because it was necessary for our community and more importantly, necessary for our children.
Damn, it's crazy that I'm glad you're here because we're having a conversation. The reason I'm saying it, I know for sure it's a lot of parents right now that their kids probably go to school and they can afford for them to eat. And it's crazy that you one of the person that's that's a part of this whole thing. So I think, and
Absolutely.
I'm glad that you be able to share this on the platform so people get to know that what you've done already in the community and stuff like. So now, I know I don't want to move too fast with the conversation, but I want to give people a little bit deeply um, who you are and everything. So now, I know you run a restaurant in the county, right?
Yes.
Got it. So you have your own restaurant, and so that means you have business here, and I mean in the city, sorry. So you run for mayor, right? So now you about to run, or you running right now for council. Why?
So the why, right? The why is I am here to better my community. And
Mm-hmm.
so I believe in Douglasville. I believe in Douglas County. I don't intend on going anywhere. And
Mm-hmm.
so I, look at other opportunities on how we can better our community. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's public service. And so, as I mentioned, I was on the Board of Education for
Mm-hmm.
7 years. I left as the vice chair. I did run for mayor, and it wasn't personal for me. It was
Mm-hmm.
an opportunity to be able to offer myself for greater service.
Gotcha.
And that was to be able to lead the city had I won. And so that's why I'm here. As a public official, just to do better by our community. I feel that we have a duty as leaders to do the best by our community. And sometimes that means that you operate in different governmental entities, ultimately just to be able to serve the people.
So you post online because I'm gonna have to go straight to this. Don't mind me because I'm so pumped for that because you post online you was running.
Yes.
That was super excited. You know what I'm saying? I see so many comments and that, you going for council. Now, all of a something everything got stopped. And now you back on track again. Can you tell people a little bit about the story? You got to keep it real and keep it raw to everybody because
No,
people need to
absolutely.
know. So, what happened? Because why you get disqualified?
Well, reality is sometimes, when you seek for change, people who are in leadership don't always welcome that. And so, as mentioned, there was some resistance that I faced running, for mayor. But to me, I could take it because I wanted to be able to serve my community. And so now, with Councilwoman Danley deciding to not seek reelection, it was an opportunity to be able to offer myself again for public service. And so as much as I thought that, people would be excited, some people are and some people aren't, right? And so what happened is I qualified. I submitted my intent to run for public office back in March, right? So of course, community started buzzing. There were conversations about me running for office. And I, of course, like to be able to think that people mean well and people who are excited, for the opportunity for a young man who's made history in Douglas County, who has shown himself to be tested and tried, that they would be excited for the opportunity for him to be able to offer himself to service, right? And when we look at our electorate, when we look at our elected officials, I served as the youngest elected officials for nearly 10 years in Douglas County. Now we do have another young person, Elena Hudson, who's on council. But outside of that, most of our elected officials are seasoned adults.
Got it.
And so I went to qualify. I was met with many challenges, given the fact that I've qualified many times before. I was on the Board of Education where I qualified twice. I ran for mayor where I had to qualify. So I know the process
Got it.
of what it takes to be able to qualify, the documentation that's required. So I went to qualify, and I was immediately hit with resistance. I noticed that the energy in the building was off. I noticed that I sat in the lobby both
Probably like that we
times.
see you too much.
It's like I sat in the lobby during qualifying hours. I sat in the lobby 30 minutes the first day. I sat in the lobby, waiting to be serviced. I go upstairs. I'm told that there's additional documentation that's needed, right? I was told that I needed to present certain documentations that were not required. So I said, okay. I'll be back on tomorrow, right? But before I left, I was told that, hey, I want you to understand that I like you, but I'm requesting these documents because it's coming from above me. I thought it was odd, and I did not understand why, but I just said, okay, and I'll see you on tomorrow.
Got
I
it.
double checked what additional documentation is needed. I was told what was needed. Again, very strange, but I did it, right? Because it's that I didn't want to not be able to present the documentation, etc. Came back the next day, presented the documentation. I was told you're qualified. And that was the Wednesday, the day of qualifying, actually the day that qualifying closes. And then I received an email on that Thursday, the day after qualifying, said that I did not meet qualifications and that a formal letter would be sent to me on that Friday stating why. And so, of course, with most people, there was some irritation, there was frustration because why, right? Because I had already communicated with the city earlier this year asking what were the requirements, and I referred back to the city's email with the requirements, and I followed up and presented exactly what I was told needed to be presented, but what they asked was over and beyond that of every other candidate. And of course, we did an open records request, and it proved that I was treated unfairly.
Wow. Oh, that's interesting. What's crazy thing is that fact that you already done it so many times.
Yeah, absolutely.
So kind of like now, here's the deal is so when you look at the situation, what does that tell you about the community with the whole situation?
So I don't know if it's necessarily about the community.
I mean, I'm not talking about people's right, but I'm talking about I'm talking about I'm
Yeah.
talking about whoever that probably they want you to run basically.
So let's
what
say our leadership, right?
Correct.
So I think there's resistance, right? As I mentioned, sometimes we are in position and we feel like it's ours. When we serve in different entities, we think it's our seat, that we're the only persons that should be there, and we don't allow the opportunity for change. And I'm not that person, right? Because when I resigned from the Board of Education, I had to appoint a successor, someone who I thought would be able to carry the vision forward, right? So it was for me, I understand paying it forward. I understand allowing opportunity for new leadership because we can't sit in these positions forever, and nor should we be in the business of trying to retire politicians, right? It's that we should come here, do what's necessary for the community, and then pass it on, leave a legacy behind. But so many times we don't do that. So what I'll say for our leadership is that we have to allow the opportunity for new ideas, fresh faces to be able to take our community further.
Facts.
Because if not, then we're going to stay stagnant.
Facts. So now, when you get the letter, so you got disqualified, do you have to go to court or how is that process?
No, so I received a letter, and so I had the conversation with some friends, and immediately I said, I don't want to do it. I know people say, hey, listen, we're excited for your run. The community said that we will support you. But when I received the letter, I was frustrated.
Yeah.
And I decided in that moment, okay, I'm not going to do it. So I then, of course, made the public statement that I was disqualified and I would not challenge it. And I was not totally settled on the decision, but I felt that for the sake of community, for the sake of not wanting to create this public campaign or this public spectacle on what took place, I was just willing to just bow out, right? And so I said that, and of course I made the public statement. However, I couldn't rest. I had the conversation with many people, but I could not rest because, I knew that I had been treated unfairly. And so I spoke to my attorney, and one of the things that my attorney said was this. He said, you have to put a stop to it.
Right.
He said, if you want to run for public office in Douglas County or anywhere else, you have to understand that if you don't fight this now, it won't stop for your next run.
Yep.
And so then I had some more conversations with friends and other elected officials and other attorneys, and it was clear that I was being treated unfairly and that it was worth the fight. I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out, but it was certainly worth the fight for the sake of the community.
So now so when everything had to go to court to whatever to get this whole process go, how do you feel about when you found out that, now you be able to run?
So before we get to court, there's something called due process. And so what the state law says is that every person is due process, or should receive due process rather. And I wasn't given that. And so it's that the city illegally disqualified me. And the reason that I am qualified now is because I didn't allow them to continue their antics, right? It's that I was supposed to remain qualified, and then a challenge was supposed to be brought. And then after the challenge, there was supposed to be a hearing scheduled, and then I was supposed to be made aware of why the challenge took place or whatever their findings were to disqualify me. However, none of that happened. So the cart was certainly before the horse. And so fast forward, I brought the challenge forward within the necessary timeline. So the city had to, based on state law, they had to give me a challenge. And then there was a formal hearing that took place. And they upheld their charter. So I will say that I'm grateful to the city officials, despite how it happened, despite the process. I am grateful that they upheld their charter in which, they're governed by.
Got it. Now, don't you ever sit down and feel that things that happen is a little bit personal, or you feel like it's just generally, you can always keep your words, the same thing you just say, sometimes people get in a position they feel like they should be there. But my thing is, I'm trying to picture the purpose of the reason of, because you say you already run so many times, so everything's still the same for the past couple years. So why now is this?
No, absolutely. So it was certainly one of the things that I have to say is that there was a personal component to this. Why? I'm not sure. Because I don't know, I can't prove somebody's intent. But what I can say is that it was personal. And for whatever reason, I think that there was a concerted effort with leadership to be able to block me from leadership, right? I have a proven track record. As I mentioned, I've been in politics since I was 25. I was one of the youngest in the state. I'm the first in Douglas County to be able to hold that Board of Education seat. So I've made history, right? Nice. I've made history in Douglas County. So for me, it's about how do you leave a legacy for the people to come behind. So it's that for some people, they want the legacy or the history to stop with them. They don't want it to be able to go beyond them. One of the things that we look at in politics is that most people get into politics well after they've retired, after they've had a career, etc. But I started much sooner, right? So most people get 40, 50, 60. So coming at 25, it's that I have a longer span to be able to be in politics than a number of our leadership.
Got it.
Because most of them are near retirement age, etc., or just kind of where they've served and they just kind of want to be done with it, right? They just want to relax and enjoy the rest of their lives. So I think with some of that, there's resistance, and I think some of that, there's fear. And I think that based on the disqualification, that's exactly what I experienced, and I think that's what the community experienced, the fear of certain leaders and certain progression that we're rightfully due.
Got it. Now, did you feel when you found out that about the disqualification, did that kind of like hit you personally? Like, did that make any impact?
Certainly, because one of the things I think people don't understand is that when you're in public office, everything about your life pretty much is public, right? Even if you don't want it to be public, it becomes public. And people sometimes hold you, in most regards, they hold you in a certain position that they don't hold themselves. And so it's that you always have to be above reproach, whether they see you in the grocery store, whether they see you at a game, wherever they see you, they hold you in that public official spot and not as a person. So to see yourself in the newspaper, to have to read yourself in the newspaper, to have to read the comments of the things that people say about you who don't even know you, right? The lies that people make up and they don't even know you. It's that people just see something, they see your picture in the newspaper, they automatically assume that it's something bad, right? But you don't equally get the same press when it's something good. You don't equally get the same press when you're feeding kids, when you're building infrastructure, when you're giving raises to teachers, and when you're doing all those things, when you're putting yourself, when you're answering the phone, when you're with your family, when someone calls you and they expect an answer and they want you to step in for the sake of their family or their child or whatever you can do in whatever capacity, a lot of times people don't see that. But what they see is a headline. They see when somebody says something and it's that, oh, it must be true.
Yeah.
And it's that you're not afforded the same opportunity or the same grace as someone else, because as a public official, even with me not being in public office, I'm still held to a certain standard, if that makes sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Now, you're about to go against somebody. I don't know if you know who it is already. I got to do a little bit of my research on that as well. So, do you know anything about who you're going to go against?
No, I don't. I've seen him, but I don't know anything about him.
Got it. So my next question going to be on the same topic is, on your own mind, do you feel like, I would say, give me your number one reason that you would say that person who's running against you that is not qualified to be in a position more than you?
So what I can say is that I can't say that he's not qualified, right? But what I can say is that I have a proven track record, right? I've been in public office before. I've served the community. I've served the underserved community. I know what it looks like to empower a community. I know what it looks like to better a community. And there's just certain things that's necessary to be able to hold this seat as it relates to looking at a community that's been blighted, a community that's been underserved. This is a community I grew up in. And so I can tell you firsthand the lack of changes that has happened in this community since I was a young boy, since I went to elementary school, since I went to middle, and then even high school. So I can tell you that I'm better fit to represent the people because I understand exactly what's needed versus other pockets of the city and other pockets of our community.
Okay. So, and I'm glad that you come because we get to talk a lot about this situation particular, but definitely got to bring you back again for another podcast before the election. We got to go a little bit deep with sort of questions, because this episode we're trying to keep it as short and instead not make it too long.
Absolutely.
But one of the key things I really want to kind of tap into is when you get to office, which is if you make it to the office, which is I'm sure you're gonna work super hard to get to that level. Now, what would it be? Now, let me frame the question better.
Okay.
Because your positions and the mayor positions and commissioner position, they are kind of three different positions. So, but on your position, if you get to the office, what would it be one of the main things would you kind of put hands on to trying to fix, in your opinion?
My first thing is I want to know what the plan is, right? As I mentioned, I've been around this community for a long while, and I've been a part of many conversations on what the potential is for the area, but I have not seen the plan. Yeah. And I think for a lot of the community, there's frustration because what's to come here? What is the real vision for the city, for this community? There's a lot of conversations about wanting the city of Douglasville to look the same when you go from one side of the tracks to the other side, that you don't want to be able to see the division. But it continues to happen, right? We continue to see it. It's very evident. And there's a lot of growing conversation about it, even with new people moving in. As a business owner in the community, I hear conversations of people who say, I don't go to that side of the track, right? And I'm oftentimes startled by that because I didn't realize that that was still a thing. But there's still pockets of the community who don't come to that side of the community, who don't visit the restaurant, who don't come to Jesse Davis Park, etc., because there's this stigma, but also there's certain pockets that are still an eyesore for the community. So for me, the main thing is, what is the plan? What is the vision? And then how do we work towards making sure that it comes to fruition? How do we implement change in the community, in that blighted community, that underserved area?
Got it. So now, scale to 100s, how ready you think you are to go out there and make a difference when you get to the position?
100%, 110%.
Now, my next question gonna be is, if you get to the position, would you make sure you be transparent to the community for them to know from A to Z what are you doing? And also, if you're not doing something you're supposed to do, do you think, would you allow them to hold you accountable?
Yes, accountability is what's necessary. And I'm transparent, right? I'm a transparent leader. And so I think a lot of times what happened is that we aren't transparent with the community as it relates to budgets, as it relates to feasibility, as it relates to what can actually happen for our community. A lot of times we just throw things out there. But sometimes what people need to see is a vision. They need to see images of what can be or what's to come, right? Even if it's a sign. One of the things that, we always do at the Board of Education is that when we're working on a new project, there's a sign that goes out in front of the building and it shows you what's to come. You can see a rendering in real time of what the building will look like, etc. But a lot of times we don't get that, right? So it's that if for some reason we could see hope of what's to come, right? If we could see hope of a New Horizon sign in the community, right? If we could see hope of restaurants coming or other economic development opportunities for the community can grab onto your leadership and help be able to support you. But when they don't see that, that's why you have a low voter turnout, because people are not inspired, right? Because people feel that I've been fed lies and everybody up there are going to do the same thing. But the difference with me is that I'm tested and tried. I mean, I've won elections before, and even the elections that I did not win, guess what? I still got votes. And those votes superseded the votes that you get in a municipal election for a city council race. So it's that I'm ready, right? I'm born for this. I'm built for this. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that I can make it happen.
Okay, so now, if you would have a message, would have sent out there to the community about for them to go out there and vote for you, what would it be?
Well, I'll start with, I think it's only right to say thank you, right, to the leaders who have served us before, Councilwoman LaShawn Burdanley and then Councilman Sam Davis. I think that they have done a tremendous job with leading our community. However, when they're tired, right, when they're ready to give up, when they're ready to throw in the towel, you have to have someone else who can hold up their wings, right, or to be able to take the charge. So I appreciate them for their service, but also an opportunity to be able to lead the charge, to be able to complete some of the tasks that they couldn't, or to be able to take their vision a little further.
Gotcha. But keep it going.
Right, absolutely. But to my community, what I'll say is that you have to stay engaged. Despite how it looks, despite how it's been, you have to stay engaged. Your voice must match your vote. And in order for us to get real change in our community, we have to be a part of the process. We have to get out and vote, right? We have to make sure that we tell a friend, bring somebody to the polls. That's the only way that true change is going to happen in our community. So to my community, who I'm excited to be able to serve and looking forward to serve, I need you to stand with me, help support me, and I can assure you that I'll do the same for you.
All right, there you go. You have it. Devetrion is going for council in Douglasville. And I mean, you heard all the great story about him, things he done already, and how they treat him so bad. And now he's here and telling the whole story and give you the whole blueprint of what happened. So now you make the choice and go out there and vote. I say that so many times. I tell people, don't wait. It's when you're in some real problem, you're trying to know who's your councilman, who's the sheriff department, who's this, who's that. You have to be involved as much you can, like you say. Absolutely. It's to making sure you're part of what's going on. It doesn't matter the change that you probably want is not happening, but that doesn't mean like that's not change happening, because things is happening daily in the community. So now, I might ask you one last questions.
Okay.
And because I asked everybody their questions because I don't want that you leave and I don't ask this question now. So what would it be your response to this whole gun violence that's going on? I don't want to say the whole United States is happening, true, but let's say for Atlanta, the whole state. So, how do you feel about what's going on with those young kids losing their life and everything and stuff like that? I mean, if you was in position, you were in a big position, what would it be one thing you would do to kind of stop that?
No, absolutely. I think it's absolutely disheartening to know that we're still losing so many of our young people. But what has to happen is engagement. We have to be able to engage our young people at their level. So many times we try to do it at a higher level approach. We miss them. And so it's that gun violence. It's that people don't know how to communicate. Mm-hmm. People don't know how to walk away. And so it's that our young people so many times are in situations where they feel like they have to confront the situation right then. But it's okay to walk away, right? Mm-hmm, it's okay to think about the decision that you are about to make, because what I can tell you is that in Fulton County and Douglas County and surrounding counties, our young people are getting, I'm not going to necessarily say because they didn't do the crime, mm-hmm. but they're always getting, or in most instances, they're getting the tough end of the deal. Mm. And it's not allowing an opportunity for redemption. I think that's one of my biggest struggles with our young people going to prison. It's that when you sentence them 25 years to life, when you sentence them without the possibility of parole, what motivates them to be a model inmate, right? Mm. So when you look at our justice system, et cetera, now what we're doing is just breeding more criminals. We're breeding more violence. We're breeding more gangs, et cetera. Mm-hmm. But the biggest thing is education. We hear it all the time, and that could be formal education, right? Mm-hmm. But sometimes it could just be you walking up to the next young person and asking them what their plans are, right? Or being able to encourage them beyond where they are, because it's tough. Mm-hmm. A lot of times people don't understand the frustration. As a young black man walking through this path, there were many opportunities where I probably could have done something horrible, right? Mm-hmm. And that it could have changed my trajectory. But it's that I had people around me, that village, to mm-hmm. be able to talk to me and be able to show me that, hey, listen, you can. All you have to do is try. Right. And then when you try, when you put one foot in front of the other, then guess what? We'll come behind you. And so I'm a product of having a village of people as a young man to be able to walk with me, letting me know that it's okay to do the right thing. It's mm-hmm. okay to not be concerned about what people said. I've been talked about all my life, right? But it's like, hey, but now I'm talked about for other reasons, right? Mm-hmm. So it's that some good, some bad, however, but it's that I had the opportunity based on the people who are around me, based on the people who invested in me. And so we have to invest in our young people. We have to invest in our communities. And when we do that, then we will see those numbers in gun violence and other things like that. We'll see them decline, but our communities need resources.
Gotcha. There you go. You have it. And thank you for coming, man.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you to come share your story and with us. And I wish you success and good luck with the whole position.
All right. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
So we're going to see you on the next one.